I never thought my story would be one of survival. I thought I was building a life, a family, a future with someone who promised love, security, and partnership. But what I didn't realize was that I had married a narcissist, a man who wore a mask so well that even I couldn't see the truth behind it until it was too late. At first, the abuse wasn't obvious. It didn't come in the form of bruises or shouting matches. It was slow, subtle, and suffocating. He broke me down mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, turning love into control, support into isolation, and faith into a weapon against me. I was told to submit, to be quiet, to endure. And when I reached out for help, the people who should have been my refuge, the pastors, the church members, even my own family turned away from me. They didn't just abandon me, they sided with him. When the physical abuse started, I still didn't see it for what it was. I made excuses. I blamed myself. I believed the lies he whispered, that I was the problem, that I was just not good enough, that if I just tried harder, loved him better, prayed more, things would change. But they never did. Instead, my energy, my spirit, everything that made me who I was being siphoned from me. Then when we had children, the abuse only got worse. Suddenly, I wasn't just a wife. I was a mother fighting against the lies being whispered about me. You're not a good enough mom. You can't take care of them. You're failing. I poured everything into my children, but to him, it was never enough. And when I finally decided to leave, the war truly began. My own family, those who should have protected me, took his side. He turned them against me with manipulation and deceit, weaving a false narrative that made me the villain in my own story. They welcomed him in while I was left with nowhere to go. When I reached out to my mother for shelter, praying she would help me in my time of need, she called the police on me instead. I found myself in a domestic violence shelter, carrying nothing but my strength and the love of my children. And when that wasn't enough, I ended up living in my car for almost a month, alone, broke, and questioning how I had gotten here. Desperate for a fresh start, I moved to California, hoping his mother would offer some support. But just like the others, she turned her back on me too. And then after I finally stood up for myself and reported his assault in 2022, he did what narcissists do best. He blame shifted. He couldn't let me expose him, so he retaliated.
Okay, I'm not scared of your dog.
During a hotel stay in 2021, a year prior, after paying most of what was owed, an emergency happened that left me unable to cover the remaining balance. It should have been just a civil dispute, but he saw his chance to destroy me. He lied to the police, fabricated reports, and manipulated the situation to make it look like a criminal act, all as revenge for me daring to call the police after what he did to me. That false narrative led to criminal charges being filed against me. A warrant was put out for my arrest, not because I had done anything wrong, but because my abuser weaponized the system against me. And the worst part, he didn't stop there. He dragged me through the courts, filing motion after motion, using legal abuse to wear me down. And then, as if I hadn't suffered enough, he took my children away. He gained sole custody, not because he was the better parent, but because the system favored his manipulation over my truth. But this is not a story of defeat. This is a story of resilience. Through the fire, I found something no abuser, no court ruling, and no false narrative could take from me. It was radical self-worth. I realized my value was never defined by his lies. My worth was not in their hands. It was in my own. I am not what they said I was. I'm a narcissistic abuse recovery coach. I'm an award-winning singer-songwriter. I'm a mother, a warrior, and a survivor. I use my voice both in music and in advocacy to help others break free from the chains of abuse. And now I stand in my power. I fight not just for myself, but for my children, for justice, and for every survivor who has been silenced, shamed, or dragged through the system by their abuser. I'm here to tell you, you are not alone. Your worth is not determined by what was done to you. And no matter how many times they try to break you, you will rise. Because resilience is not just about surviving the storm. It's realizing that you are the storm. A huge thank you to Davina Lyons of Rising Resilience for sponsoring this video and providing a platform for me to share my story. Your work is so important in uplifting survivors and reminding us all of the power of resilience. Make sure that you check out her website for more inspiring stories of survivors who faced unimaginable odds and still rose stronger. Thank you, Davina, for the work you do and for giving survivors a space to be seen, heard, and empowered. We love you.